Have you noticed there appears to be a glass ceiling between once you hit consistent profitability and all of a sudden you start feeling, oh my gosh, you know something, I hit this level and yes, I'm profitable. The thing is, if I could break through and get beyond this moment, things would be really looking up. And yet you hit that moment and drop back down. And then you come back up and you go over that line in the sand and you fall back down. And you do that for years. What's going on here? Ultimately what you've done is your brain has established a comfort zone. And you've gone beyond that comfort zone, and you've also done something even more. You've took your worth, this worth that you have on an inner level, and you've put a monetary value on it. I mean, I've known traders who have, one in particular, one that was trading with a high six-figure account. And every time he went over into seven figures, he would lose back down. And then it would start over and he'd get into seven figures and he'd lose back down. Now he's profitable, but at the same time, he's found a ceiling to his worth. That's what I want you to get, is that your brain, particularly because of that caveman, will establish a sense of worth that becomes symbolically linked to money. Yeah. So all of a sudden you begin to see that connection between net worth and self-worth. And what you'll do is you wouldn't necessarily even know it was there. You would be looking at it and you wouldn't see it because it's a belief about your worth and you're stuck in it, but you can't see that you can't see it. And then a guy comes along and finally says, what's going on here? And they start really looking and they find out that their sense of worth as a human being has become tied to a particular dollar value. The case in point where I was just talking about, it had been tied, and he had learned at the dinner table in his home that nobody was worth $1 million. And there he was, little impressionable boy that he was, grows up, becomes a trader, and he hits that seven-figure level, and all of a sudden he loses back down. That's called limbic learning. And you would be surprised for the folks who become consistently profitable, really can get it there. They find another barrier, though. That barrier is their worth. It's not unusual for a person to start really doing well and then reach a point and then lose back down. And he'll say, what's going on here? In this particular case, the guy's family and all like that came out of Germany, and after the First World War, their family, one side of their family had just been devastated and they never recovered, and they created a story about a jinx. Okay? The other side of the family in World War II, after the end of World War II, they lost a lot of land holdings in Poland. And they too developed a story about their worth, is that it was called, a jinx is going to happen. It will only let you get up so much. Now, in this case, this guy went and built his account up quite well. Okay. And then he reached a particular point and he started losing back down. And ultimately, the solution to the problem was about getting in and understanding that his family, long before he was around, had created a myth, a story about what their value was. In their case, it was like something always going to happen bad. And they came to that belief, they lived in that belief, and darned if that's the observer they became, and they started subconsciously looking for a failure once they reached a particular moment. There was a time, a long time ago with our caveman ancestors, that there was no money, okay? But there was the power to survive. And it just so happens, in that clan of people had value that contribute to the survival of the group. And it just so happens, if you could really work with another group of guys and bring down massive beasts, you were in high regard. You had high net worth. You got prestige. You got first dibs on the food. You also had first avenue for the breeding to be able to push your genes into the future. That went on for a long time. And then in the evolution, money appears. Suddenly, your net worth becomes symbolically linked to a symbol, to a figure, like $250,000, like seven figures. And that's where you get stuck. It's a window. You wouldn't know it's there. You know how to work around it, but there you are. And what I want to ask you, is that this is a comfort zone. You wouldn't know that it was a comfort zone because it feels like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. But yet, the moment you start pushing past that comfort zone, you trigger instinctive forces within your brain to pull you back down. It's not bad. Evolutionarily, it kept you in a particular area where you knew you were within a group of people. And now, in trading, all that has kind of like disappeared, except that the biology of organization is still there. So if you've reached a moment of where you've become profitable and you're stuck at a particular level and you know you've been trying to get to another level, but you've actually said, what is going on here? Well, this is where the confusion between net worth and self-worth, you're going to need to explore. You're going to need to explore what the belief is that's lurking back there that is actually stopping you from growing to another comfort zone. This is the quest as you actually move into trading and move beyond just can I become profitable? Can I actually manage this? But can I generate wealth? Can I move beyond the limitations of scarcity thinking, where there's a set value of my net worth, and move beyond that to where money becomes something completely different? Money is no longer a symbolic representation of your worth or your power. Money is just a transactional tool that you use to get things done. Okay? It's not about you. But as long as the money is about you, you're going to have a problem. Now, how do you go about looking for this? First of all, my encouragement is that if this is the first time you're actually seeing me talk, get my free ebook and then start exploring our website and take a look at all that massive amount of YouTube material I have. What I want you to do is to begin to see how your biology, emotion, cognition, and your spirituality come together to form this thing called you, when in fact it seems like your solid state. But the truth is, particularly from a quantum standpoint, what you realize is that reality exists as potential. The observer of that potential is what creates the form. It's easy for that observer to become comfortable, stuck in a place, and looking into the potential of what he could be, it becomes limited simply because of the beliefs that have occurred that at one time were very useful. Now we're looking to actually get to those beliefs and to shift your conversation, your perception of what money means. And the truth is that most people hold that it's the power to survive, it's the power of prestige, it's the power to be above the fear. Yet at the same time, what it is a conversation about your ability to engage uncertainty, okay, on a higher and higher level. Come and learn, friends. Come and learn. Find out what's holding you back, okay? And understand from the brain standpoint, it was useful. It's just that now, where you are now, in a completely different world than your caveman ancestors, it's no longer useful. You're going to need to explore that, fundamentally rework those beliefs that can free you up to greater expression of being able to see what your inherent worth really is and how it is not connected to the worth you create in values called money. Okay? If you're trading to make money, you're going to have a hard time. If you're trading for the fascination, for the joy of working with this and recognizing this is about managing probability and that what you have is an edge that you can improve to where you can move beyond the old standards that had defined you. And this is where you start. Come visit us. Take care. Bye-bye.